Okay, why do I always need to say something before I say something? Anyway, do it yourself. Video end. Learn to do it yourself. I think, I don't know. Sometimes you're talking to somebody, and I'm trying to think of an example right now. Why can't I think of an example? And they're just like, just learn to do it yourself. Just like, why can't you just do it yourself? And depending on what it is, like, I don't know, like sewing. Okay, that's an example. Uh, I have many patches on some of my pantaloons, and I don't know how to sew, and I've never even tried to learn how to sew, and I rely on other people with that skill in order to sew. However, then I also have to like, when you rely on anybody for anything, you're putting trust into that person, and you're also just like, you can't do it on your terms, right? So it's just like someone's doing you a favor, or even if you're paying somebody to do it, it's kind of like, okay, well, I have time to do it at this time, that's when it'll be done, or someone will just get around to it whenever they get around to it, especially if it's a favor. Sometimes that's how that works. So I mean, that's the sucky part about not doing things on your own, not knowing how to do everything ever. But that's the whole point of this thing, is like, you can't learn to do everything ever, like everything that you can do. Like, where does that line end, you know? Like, same thing with like stretch bars for me. So like, I buy stretch bars. Well, I used to way more often. Now I kind of just buy thick profile canvas. But before, it was way more cost efficient for me to buy my stretch bars and stretch the canvas over them myself. Like put the stretch bars together into a frame and stretch my canvas, and it was not that difficult. After I did it a couple times, somebody taught me. I learned how to do it myself. There you go. However, then I moved to Lethbridge. They don't even sell stretch bars here. They sell canvas roll. They don't sell stretch bars anywhere. So then people have been like, "Oh, well, like, why don't you make your own?" I'm like, "Well, I don't really have my own like little workshop area. I'm just gonna go and learn how to. First, I'm gonna buy that much equipment. I'm gonna like buy these. I don't even know what kind of saw you would need, and then like find wood and like I don't know. That's so much effort. If I did that, I wouldn't even have time to paint anything. Like I don't know. There's just like some people just I don't know. Like there's a certain amount of skills that you need, and then I'm sure that there's some that you want, and like whatever you acquire the skills that you like need and want that fit into your life that makes sense. There are some things that also just like I'm not very equipped to do with just the nature of who I am, and it's very difficult. So I mean like for me, math is always really crazy difficult. It's always been that way, no matter how hard I've tried. A certain level of math for me is like just my brain can't retain the information, and formulaic process and structure like that doesn't really work for me. It just never has. So, but even with things like that, like I'm struggling right now, still with maintaining my own bike. Now that I have a mountain bike, it requires much more maintenance. I feel than other bikes, or the way that I ride my bike, or just a combination of things, and I can do very, very little with it. And that freaks me out, because I'm like, oh, what if I get a flat and I'm out, and this, that, and the other thing. And also partly because I know, like, I'm a on-hands learner. Like, I can look at stuff from videos, and it's, depending on what it is, I mean, with bike stuff, I seem like I just can't, and I don't want to, like, play around with it until I get it right, because I might just completely screw my bike up, which I've done before, not with the mountain bike, but with my BMX. I tried to, like, figure it out on my own, and I was like, man, I screwed it up so bad I had to take it in anyway. But it's very inconveniencing to have to like take it into the shop, and especially if I'm out somewhere on a trail and something happens, and maybe if I just had the know-how, I could do it myself. That's very rewarding. It's very liberating. It's very useful and convenient. If you do the initial work, then it's incredibly convenient, and then it gives me, and it also alleviates my anxiety too. There's less stress because I know how to do that thing now. But some things I just can't learn easily, right? I don't know. I just a pet peeve that, like, just a rant about when people are like, just learn how to do it yourself. It's like, yeah, I could. Or, in the case of sewing, like, I happen to know people that sew, and I mean, depending on videos you've watched, you've met Laura Lee, so, you know, she sews my patches on, and I'm grateful for that, because she also buys me the patches half the time, too, because she gets them in the shop, and, that's awesome. But, like, I just, like, I don't know, I would rather do that than learn how to sew, because that's just another thing on my plate that I would have to do, and I can wait sometimes to get patches on. And, you know, relying on the grace and, like, the skills of your friends, I guess. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that as long as you have the patience to navigate that scenario or that relationship or whatever. I'm like, you just can't learn to do all the things, okay? So it's like, you should learn how to make food to sustain your life. Yeah, you probably should. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of a skill that, at least to some level, and I have no patience for cooking, but I mean, I can make what I need to make to survive without, like, getting takeout, like, every day or something, right? So, or relying on purely, like, pre-made food, because that's not the healthiest. Yeah, I don't know. Just some people just have it in their heads like, well, whatever you want to do, just learn how to do it. I'm like, but I wouldn't have time to do the other things that I want to do. Like, how could I have time, to paint if all I'm doing is, like, just, yeah, I need to sew my own stuff. I need to I need to learn, like, really, really well, fix my own bike. I mean, that's something I want to do, but I mean, like, because that would be ultra convenient. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. This rant went off the rails, which is hard for a rant to go off the rails, but I mean, it's just that thing of like, why do you think that I should learn how to do every single thing myself? It's not plausible. It's not like a realistic expectation. Um, it just isn't. Like, some things, I mean, I've said to some people too, like, well, could you do that yourself? Like, isn't that something you could do? There's a balance between, like, laziness and, like, no desire to learn, which is, like, a huge thing for me. Like, I believe in, like, a growth mindset and learning to do things, and I'm always excited to learn new things. Usually these are conceptual things and not hands-on things, though. Some people are the exact opposite, and some people are just lazy. They don't want to do anything at all that requires work. I believe in hard work. I believe in figuring stuff out, and especially when it conveniences me, which, again, the bike thing, like, that is, like, a hands-on thing that if I have someone accessible to me in person, like, that'd be easier for me to, like, learn those things. Sometimes I have to do things a couple times and then they're cemented in. Anyway, yeah, I'm just too scared of screwing up my bike. So I need the professional know-how of someone who really knows what they're doing beside me that can be like, no, 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 that's how you screw that up. Do it this way. And then anyway, yeah, it's not out of laziness or like a scapegoat for just like, well, you can't do everything, so just whatever, rely on everyone else. But I mean, like, it's a beautiful thing also to have, like, friends and family or people that can help you out and do things that you cannot do or have yet to learn how to do or don't want to make time to do. I think it's okay with not wanting to make time to learn certain things. It's all contextual too, right? Like I said, the bike thing, that's like, I want to learn how to do that. Whereas the sewing thing, like, that's not as big of a priority. It doesn't, like, it's not making my life really that inconvenienced that I don't know how to sew a patch onto my pants. Know how. I mean, it probably seems like a really simple thing too, but sometimes it's also like, it's nicer when it's like, okay, it's like French toast. Like, I kind of tried to learn how to make French toast. It's like a very simple thing. I'm sure I've made more complex things than French toast in my life, but it's really nice when someone else makes you French toast. I love French toast, and if I could have access, or if I felt like I could make it myself anytime I wanted, it wouldn't be as special, I guess. Things like that, too. I don't know. This is silly. I'm a silly person. But I think it's also super silly to be like, just learn how to do it yourself. With everything ever. Learn how to do it yourself. You can't learn all the things, just like you can't hug all the cats, okay? Jeez.